Hey, everybody, and welcome to your Physics 1106 lab course at Randolph College. Okay, so I was going to give you just a little overview of how the class works. We run the class off of our Moodle page, and the way you get into Moodle is you go to moodle.randolphcollege.edu and you log in with your Randolph College username, which is usually the first name, the first letter of your first name, and then your last name. Sometimes it can have a number after it, depending, right? So, and then your password that gets you into your, Randolph College email. If all this sounds foreign to you, then you should call Randolph College tomorrow morning, tomorrow's Monday, and call them at 434-947-8000 and ask for the IT help desk. They will help you set up your account. Okay, but then once you get into Moodle, you'll be able to see this course. So this is our course, and I'm going to give you a little rundown about how it works. Okay, so this is a lab course, and we do have a lab kit. In the next few days, you'll be getting your lab kit. Your job is to look at the lab kit, what's inside it, and make sure that everything that's on this list right here that you're seeing on the screen is there. Now, there might be some extra items in there that you're not going to need, but make sure that everything's on this list is there. Okay. So make sure you do that as soon as you get it. And if you don't get it within a week of Monday, you need to contact me. Okay. You won't need this lab kit for the first few days of lab. All right. So in general, we have some general course information like the syllabus, which tells you all about the grading, et cetera, and course policies. And we have a calendar, which I encourage you guys to print out, have it handy, so you can just look at what's due. And you can see here, things that are in red are stuff that's due, right? So for instance, right away, so by Tuesday of this week, you're going to have an Excel quiz due to make sure you know how to use Excel for the things we need. A statistics lecture and quiz will be due on Wednesday, etc. Okay. And then things that are in black, they're also due, but they're just for the pre-labs that are in black. So maybe I should have made those red. Anyway, in green are the suggested days to do the actual lab activities. This is just to help you keep track of where should I be, what should I be working on at any time. So that's just a helpful thing. It's you can work at them on your own time, but remember there are deadlines. That's why those things are on, those red ones are on specific dates for specific labs. Okay. And then we have a Zoom conference link. So if you ever want to be on office hours, which are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 3, you can get on with this link. You can also text me. So if you, for instance, you get onto the Zoom link between these times, Eastern Standard Time, and you're like, nobody's there, right? Please text me because something went wrong with Zoom or whatever it is. So text me. And you can also text me with questions. Now, if you text me at 11 p.m. at night, I'm probably not going to get back to you until the next morning, but it's a lot quicker than email for me. And it's also, I mean, you can email me as well, but it's really much more convenient, I think, in general, to text me. Okay. All right. Now, this is the place where you're going to see a lot of those quizzes that are due kind of right away. You can see, right, 1022, 1023, and 1025. And then we start the first lab. Notice it says that the lab kit is not required for this. So that's good. You won't have your lab kit right away. And your suggested day to do the activities is not until the 28th. Okay. Now there are there's 2 types of reports that we do in this lab. One is a formal report, which is a formal lab report that has, things like purpose, data, data analysis, like all these sections that you need to write about what you did. And there'll be a lot of information about that before your first formal lab report is due. You'll know exactly what to do. And then there's another one called an informal. So you can see that the report type here is informal for the first one. And that's really just a quiz, and Moodle allows you to write little quizzes for students. So you see there's the pre-activity that's due on the 27th is a quiz. And then there's some links that you might need, helpful links. And then there's the informal report quiz. Here is also a quiz. Now, at the beginning of each thing is a manual that tells you what to do in the lab, right? Very detailed instructions on what to do for the lab. So each lab will start with a manual. Of course, text me with questions. Over here, you can kind of navigate around. So we're back to lab 1. Okay. You'll also see a link to this video, by the way, up at the top when I'm done with it. And there's a question forum that you can write questions to. Now that's for your fellow students. It's not to ask me questions. You should text me questions or email me questions, right? That you have about labs. All right, and this kind of goes like this, right? So for instance, here's the next lab. Suggested date to do things is Halloween, right? You don't have to do them on Halloween. And you don't need the lab kit, and it's an informal report. But let's scroll down and see the first formal written report, which is here. This is lab 3. You don't need the lab kit for this either. And here, sometimes if you're taking the lecture class as well, some of you may be taking the lecture class that goes with this. And some of you maybe have already taken a lecture class at your institution or at Randolph, and you're just trying to pick up the lab. But either way, we are not really in sync with those classes. So in other words, we will not be, say doing optics right after you learn about optics. So sometimes you're going to have to read up a little bit. Now the lab does a lot of explaining for you, but you might have to read a little bit about, say, optics before you do this lab. So we use an OpenStax College Physics textbook. You can go and read chapter 25 or start doing the lab, and when you get lost, you can go read about the specific things. So just be aware that we're not like in sync all the time with a lab class. And again, there's people who have already taken, with a lecture class. There are people who have already taken a lecture somewhere and maybe picking this lab up, and they're not even taking it at the same time. So just expect that you might have to go learn about something to do your lab. Okay. And this is the first formal written report. There's a manual of what to do in the lab, and then there's formal write-up guidelines and a quiz about those formal write-up guidelines, right? To make sure you understand what to do. Okay. And then a pre-lab, of course. And here's where you turn in. You can see this is not a quiz. You have to turn something in. And we like you to scan your document or upload a .doc or a Google Doc. Make sure that if you upload a link to a Google Doc that you have shared it so that anyone with the link can get to it, not just people with a particular domain. So just when you share, there should be a pull down somewhere that says anyone with link. So do that. It's just going to avoid problems of me not being able to get to it. Or, you scan it into a PDF or, right, whatever you want to do, but you upload it here. Okay. All right. So that's a formal lab, and we have a few of those. All right. But you should know what to do by the end of lab 3. And then also when I grade lab 3, you'll see the rubric, which is actually in the guidelines. And you'll see like, where did I go wrong? Maybe you did it perfectly. And then you can learn for the next lab. Okay, so this is kind of how it goes. The first lab that needs the lab kit is lab 4. And those activities aren't even done until, you don't even have to start them really. I mean, you can start them at any time, but if you don't have a lab kit, you can't. But they're not even, you don't even have to start them until the 7th of November. So you should have your lab kit by then. But again, like I said, when you get the lab kit, please open it and go through the contents and make sure everything's there, because what you don't want to do is get to 11/17 and then you're like, oh no, I don't have what I need, right? Okay, so this is kind of how this goes. I hope that's pretty clear. And just try to keep up with it, right? It's a little fast. A lot of you may be coming from institutions where you do your courses in 14 weeks. Here at Randolph, we do them in 7. So that might be quite fast for you. Not quite as fast as a summer class. Those are usually 5 weeks. But yeah, so just try to keep up with all the deadlines that I put in the lab for you. Okay. Well, I think that's all I need to tell you. So we'll be seeing you in lab. Remember, you can do it at your own pace. And I may not get to actually talk to any of you in person on our video chat, but hopefully you'll reach out in text if you need any help, or come to our office hours. Okay, well, good luck. Goodbye.